Hi everybody, how are you doing? I hope you're well and your revision is going smoothly. So, with around 8 weeks just under to go before paper 1, I thought this was a good time just to put some tips together on supporting people in kind of making or refining your revision timetables in the run-up to those exams. All right, so hopefully that's of interest. Let's crack on. All right, so it probably feels a little bit like this. So you've got so much of the spec to cover. There's a lot in A-level psych, isn't there? And it's starting to feel probably like you haven't really got that much time left. But don't panic, because we can prioritise. Yeah, there is the spec for paper 1. There's the spec for paper 2. There's the spec for paper 3. And that, I'm not trying to catch you out, I have removed optional topics there. So there's only 3 options there. It's a lot, isn't it? It feels like a lot because it is a lot. But hopefully you're at a position where you don't actually have to do every single point on the spec in depth. You might want to have a bit of a review of, 95% of it, but there will be bits of it where you don't particularly need to look at it, and there will be bits of it where you are actually reasonably confident. So what we can do is almost kind of come up with, 3 different levels of priority here. So you've got your content that you're absolutely, I need to focus on that. That is a real, if that comes up, I really need to make sure I'm okay with that. You've got a middle level where you think, I probably do know a bit about it already. I could probably do okay on it, but I'd really like to have a bit of time for that. And then you're going to have some topics where you think, do you know what? I've done what I want to do on that. I'm probably okay. I'll just maybe have a little look, obviously like maybe the couple of nights before, but some of it I'm okay with. I'm not going to spend too much time on. Okay, but how do we do that? How do we prioritize? Well, it's really important that you can do a bit of a kind of quick pass through and see what your initial feeling is, but it's really important that you try and base those decisions on evidence. You're psychologists, you're scientists. Think about what evidence you've got already for your decision making here. So, can you look at test papers, practice exams you've done, that sort of stuff? Have you been asked to do reflection tasks by your teacher? So when you do exams, probably what happens is you'll have some kind of like feedback or reflection document where you've recorded how that's gone and where you've lost marks, which topics you've struggled with. So find that. If it's online, great. If it's in a folder somewhere, go and dig it out. Use that to help you to decide. Think about homeworks you might have done, essays you might have been set, quizzes you've done, stuff you've done completely off your own back. Maybe last week you tried to do an essay on, treatments for depression, and you thought, do you know what, that didn't go very well. So in the back of your mind, you're going, okay, well, I need to put some time into that. So yeah, think about the different sources of evidence you've got and make sure you are prioritising and trying to go through the spec carefully and think about what is it I really need to do and what is it that I could probably get away with just doing in a little bit less detail, a bit more light revision on those topics. If you're really not sure, blurt, do some questions, yeah? Just a quick kind of, okay, do I know this? All right. So let's say you've got to the point where you've done some revision. Let's say that you've set aside a few hours in a week and you've bashed out 8 hours of solid revision this week. Well done, you. Maybe this is you. If you've done that, you should feel proud. But what we're going to talk about is what we should be doing with that time. So, a couple of examples. Let's imagine that this is sort of how you've spent your 8 hours. And actually what you've done is, fair play, you've actually done the 8 hours, which is great. But what you've actually done with them is sort of been largely just reading through your notes. Or going on, Tutor to You, Save My Exams, Physics and Maths, all of that stuff, and just kind of reading or printing out what they've done. Yeah. Compare that with, for example, how we're going to spend 8 hours this way. So maybe we spend a bit of time rewriting some notes. Maybe we do some blurting. We make some mind maps. We're going to use some flashcards that we've bought or made. Maybe we're going to watch a couple of YouTube videos. Maybe even like an exam paper walkthrough or some kind of like revision question videos. And then we're actually going to sit and do some questions. Maybe we're going to take a couple of hours to do a paper. Now that is going to be far more effective for your revision and your success than that first example, okay? And I know you know that, but it's really easy to fall into that trap of, oh, you know what, I'm a little bit tired or a little bit busy. I'm just going to kind of read through my notes. I haven't got it in me to do anything much more effortful today. But just don't do that if you can help it, yeah? That is going to be far more useful, and if we're honest, it's probably going to be far more interesting, more engaging for you as well, isn't it? Using flashcards, mind maps, doing questions, rather than just reading, yeah? That's not great. Don't get me wrong, it's better than doing nothing. It's certainly better than that situation, isn't it? Yeah? Don't do that. Not in the middle of your exam period. Don't waste all your time doing that. And anyway, it should be PlayStation, not Xbox. All right, so yeah, mix it up. Incorporate some active, more engaging things. We're actively trying to recall stuff, yeah? Test yourself. Okay, my next tip, be specific. So if you're someone whose revision timetable looks a bit like that, that's not really the most helpful way of doing it. You could, I suppose, improve it by actually specifying a topic. So saying, Monday I'll do that, Tuesday I'll do that. But even then, it's worth taking the extra time to really plan what it is you're going to do. Not just the topic, almost like, the subtopic and what you're going to do with that time, yeah? So, something a bit like this. Invest, a few extra minutes just to thinking about, what you're going to do on each of those periods. So, maybe Monday morning I'm going to look at paper 2 and I'm going to look at biopsych, but I'm going to specify localization, lateralization and plasticity. I'm going to do a bit of blurting, and then from that I'm going to focus on some key areas using my flashcards that I've got. Maybe in the afternoon I'm going to do a paper 1, and I've actually thought, well, I haven't done the 2022 paper before, so I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to review it by looking at the mark scheme and the examiner report. And then from that, in the evening, I'm going to do some follow-up work, and maybe that's more blurting, mind maps, flashcards, whatever it is, or some further questions, but based on what I've done in that afternoon. Yeah. So like I said, it is going to take a little bit more time to plan your revision timetable like that, but trying to be more specific will really help you. You'll get more done and it'll be more useful. It'll be more tailored to the stuff we talked about earlier in terms of prioritizing. Okay, another tip. Despite what we've talked about, try and be a little bit flexible. So let's imagine you've written out your timetable for the week, what you're going to revise. You're going to be specific. You're going to put your activities and your topics and stuff. If I'd done that on here, it would have taken up too much space, so I haven't. But imagine I have. I've highlighted maybe you've got a couple of exams that week, you've got maybe a few things going on, or you've organised some actual time to just not really worry too much about revision. You're going to have a bit of a relax one evening, whatever it is. So imagine it looks like that. Now imagine you're ill on Monday. Or imagine that what you were doing Monday morning actually takes you a lot longer than you were expecting it to take you, and that means that you can't get to the topics you were going to do Monday evening. Well, probably what you were doing on Monday was your prep or your last minute prep for your Tuesday exam. So you're a bit screwed then, aren't you? So what I would advise you do, and I'm sure some of you are doing this already, but I would advise you to incorporate some little kind of buffer, some little catch-up or review slots into your timetable, okay? Now, that's going to benefit you in a couple of ways. By doing that, you've got fewer slots to actually fill with specific revision, so you're going to have to be more efficient with those slots you've got left, which is good. But also, if you don't need those catch-up or kind of buffer periods, that's bonus revision. You can actually do another paper, or you could do some other topics that maybe were lower down on your priority list. Or you could think about, okay, well, I've gone through everything that I needed to go through. Maybe what are the most likely or the more likely sort of topic areas to come up as big questions in the exam I'm doing, and have a real focus on that in that time. Yeah. So I think it's really helpful to have some kind of catch-up, some buffer, some review slots, even just an hour or two a week, where you can use that time as you need to. You don't know what's going to crop up. You don't know if you're going to be ill. You don't know if, I don't know, maybe somebody, family member's going to pop over and see you, and you've got a couple of hours where you want to catch up with them. You haven't seen them for a while. You don't know what's going to happen. We're only human. Be honest. Expect that there's going to need to be some flexibility, and build your timetable around that. Okay, so a bit of a summary then. We've talked about a few different tips. I've said about prioritising, using your tests and revision and stuff that you've done to try and sort the specification out into different levels of priority. We've talked about being specific and trying to have on your timetable what specifically it is you're going to do, which subtopic, which paper you're going to do, what kind of revision you're doing. Mix it up a bit, a few different styles, keeping maybe a bit of a balance of activities as well as subjects, so you're not spending like 9 hours in one day just doing psychology. But be flexible as well, incorporating a few little kind of buffer and review periods, a little bit of time where you can chill out or look after yourself or catch up with friends or family. But it is tough. It's a tough time of year, and there is light at the end of the tunnel now. It's a few weeks away, and that kind of short-term pain will pay off in the long run. All right, so all the best with it all. I hope that was useful. Yeah, if you would like to explore the channel more or support the channel, there are some links there. But good luck, everybody. Thanks so much for bearing with. I hope there was some useful stuff in there. And yeah, have a fantastic day. I'll see you in another video. Cheers.